Did you have a treat? Where do you want to go? You want to go for a walk? Oh, look at that face. Look.
Is this the intro?
Yes. Hi.
Hi,
how are you doing? So if you haven't been to our channel before, I'm Hannah.
I'm Laurie.
And we are Journey with the Gingers. So we are a mother-daughter duo that love to travel. And if you are new to our channel, we would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon, ring-a-ding-ding, so you can get notifications.
Don't give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. But what are we talking about today?
We are talking about planning a trip to travel during a pandemic.
Ooh, so exciting. It actually entails a lot more than you think it will. So just bear with us. We're going to take you through a 5-step process. So we hope you enjoy our how do we plan for a vacation during a pandemic.
It's a girls' trip.
It's a girls' trip.
Let's go.
Let's go. Step 1, figure out where you're going. Now, it sounds like a pretty easy thing, but especially if you're going with another person or a group of people, you need to agree upon where you're going. So, here's the thing. In order to figure that out, you're going to have to figure out certain criteria. That being said, you need to figure out things such as your length of your travel. Are there any restrictions, especially during this time? Are there any restrictions on the places that you can go? What desires you want to be fulfilled? Like, do you want to have adventure? Do you want to have relaxation? Different things like that. So once you figure out your criteria, it's usually best for you to come up with 5 different, locations for each person, and then you discuss what locations, benefit everybody. So first, we're going to figure out our criteria. I'm going to show you our criteria. First question, our length of stay. So length of stay, I put up to 9 days. 9 days because that's a full week plus 2 days of a weekend. Who is going? Well, that would be me and Mom, so Laurie and Hannah. Now, what criteria do we want to be fulfilled? Well, we want to be able to get out and do things, but we still want to be able to social distance and stay healthy. And then we want to have some sort of adventure involved, but we want to focus on it being family and friend oriented. So basically, once we agree upon our criteria, then we list our top 5 destinations, and then we have basically a little, conference between whoever's going, and we decide on it that way.
Now that we've got our choices, we got to figure out where Hannah wants to go, where Laurie wants to go, and how it all comes together to make one choice.
Like Mom said, we have our choices, but now we need to discuss our locations. Now during this time, we need to discuss and research if there's any travel restrictions, because we are coming from a high-risk state. So we need to be careful of the options that we have chosen, just so to make sure that we won't have any trouble when we try to get to our final location. So we also need to discuss how long we want to stay there. We said that we can go up to 9 days, but we need to be realistic with the locations that we've chosen. Can we actually spend that amount of time there? Also, we need to discuss how much we're wanting to spend on this trip. Reason being is because A, we need to think about how we're getting there. B, some places are more expensive than others. So now let's discuss it. We both put Williamsburg. Can't really see it, but it's Williamsburg, Virginia.
We both match. It's the only one that we both chose that was similar.
And we both know that we can do a lot of activities here, but be kind of introverted and stay away from people at the same time.
A lot of outside activities.
Yeah, a lot of things you can do in your car.
And we get to go see somebody.
And we get to see my best friend Elizabeth.
So we get to see her for a few days while we're there.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay! So we're going to Williamsburg. We figured out step 1. Now on to step 2. Did you have a treat? Where do you want to go? You want to go for a walk? Oh, look at that face.
Step 2, can we take our dogs?
Yeah. Probably shouldn't because we're going to be spending a lot of time away from where we're going to be staying. But step 2 is actually, how are we going to get there?
How we're going to get there. We're huge fans of flying.
So the first thing that we do is look up to how much the flights are costing, especially for the time range that we are going to be there. Fun fact, it is cheaper to fly on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday versus Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because that's the most common time to travel during the week. So we know that this time we're going to be driving out on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And returning on a Saturday or a Friday.
Friday, probably.
Yeah. So we're not leaving and coming back at optimal times for flying.
Right.
So it's typically going to be more expensive, but we always like to double check. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So just looked it up. We usually fly with Delta. Sometimes we'll look at other airlines, but we have our credit cards through Delta, and
Sky Miles.
we have Sky Miles. But I'm looking right now at just dollar amounts because that's a good way to gauge how much your flight's going to be. So right now, it's looking like a round trip is ranging from $250 to around $350.
Which isn't bad.
It's not bad, but what we do is we compare it to the drive time. So how long is the drive time?
The drive time from our location to Williamsburg is about 6 hours and 45 minutes.
All right, so a good thing to look at is the fly time on here, including your layovers. So right now, the average fly time, well, it's about like 5 hours. So because we're going to layover in one location, so we're going to have a layover time, it looks like about 2 hours.
Right.
So is it really worth spending $250 to $350 for an overall time of about
The amount of time.
5 hours?
Also, we would have to rent a car because a lot of the things that we want to do in Williamsburg requires driving. But it's probably a lot cheaper to take our car.
Because a car rental is going to cost you a certain amount each day. So it just kind of makes more sense if it's going to be the same amount of time and we need our car anyways. We're just going to take our car.
Yeah, we're going to drive.
We're going to drive. So step 2 is done. Next is step 3. This chair is super squeaky. See what I mean? Now that we figured out where we are going and how we're getting there, we need to go to step 3. Where are we staying? So typically you can come up with different options. Our 2 main, I guess, paths we take are through hotels.com and through Airbnb. As of right now, there's 2 reasons that we're leaning towards an Airbnb. One, an Airbnb means that we're around less people, especially during this time. We want to be around as little people as possible when we're traveling. So an Airbnb would mean less human interaction. Yay for the introverts. Reason number 2, we are going to be bringing our car, obviously, we're driving. And so a lot of Airbnbs have spots for you to park. You're actually able to put a filter on your Airbnb searches that show you if there's a parking spot or not on the premises. The other thing that is really great about Airbnb is the ability to customize your search. You're able to put certain filters on your search, especially your days, your budget, the amenities, and basically if you want to do self-check-in or not. That's really helpful, especially during this time, so you don't have to meet up with your Airbnb host, and ours is self-check-in, which is very nice.
One of the reasons why we chose the Airbnb is because we wanted several things. We wanted to have a washer and dryer because that way we won't have to pack as much clothes. Also, we wanted to have at least room for 3 people to sleep comfortably, and this one does, the one we chose. And since we will be socially distancing, we'll probably eat out a couple times, you know, especially if there's some outdoor dining, but we want to be able to also cook while we're staying there, so we've also chosen to have an Airbnb with a kitchen.
I've stayed in a couple of Airbnbs throughout my travels, and my #1 recommendation is definitely look at the reviews in regards to your host and the location you're staying at. More necessarily, I would look at the last 5 to 10 reviews just to make sure that the past 5 to 10 guests that have stayed at the Airbnb have had a great experience. If you see that there's some reviews that are recently not so great, you may want to look at another Airbnb, but the most recent reviews are usually the most trustworthy. We highly recommend using Airbnb, especially during this time if you're wanting to social distance from others. If you've never used Airbnb before, you're in luck, because if you go to the description and you click on the link, you will be able to get $65 off your first Airbnb experience. We highly recommend it, and you get $65 off your first Airbnb stay, so go check it out.
Step 4, what are we doing? What are we doing for a trip, and what kind of plans do we want to make? And are there some plans that we need to make now as far as reservations? So we created a Word document where we just kind of sketch out a plan of what we want to do each day. Of course, it's not going to be one of those strict plans that you have to do minute by minute, but we still want to have a plan, so we make sure that we accomplish what we want to do. We don't miss out on some of the important stuff. You definitely want to do some research, and one of the things that you really need to understand during this time of pandemic and all this is that the operating hours for a lot of the places that we want to go to, or you want to go to during your road trip, they have changed. Look it up and make sure you know the operating hours before you even start to plan your trip. Also, a lot of the places that you're visiting now on vacations has limited capacity, and you may need to make reservations or even book your tickets online. So make sure you look into that before you leave for your trip. One thing we've learned about booking online also is sometimes cheaper. For instance, Hannah went to Biltmore last year, and their tickets were a lot cheaper because they booked in advance. Another thing you can do to save some money is look for discounts. If you have a college student, maybe there's a student discount. I have a military ID because my husband's retired military. Maybe there's a military discount. Sometimes when my mom goes places, there's senior citizen discounts. So go ahead and look into that, because you really want to save money whenever you can.
The biggest piece of advice that we have to give you all is you definitely need to schedule some R&R time. For vacations, for destinations you want to go to or if you've never been to, you definitely want to maximize your time. But if you over maximize your time, if that's a phrase, you will get worn out. So we definitely recommend to, whether it be in the middle of your trip or the day before you leave the destination to go back home, definitely relax and rest, because the last thing you want to do is be exhausted on your way back home. So definitely schedule in some R&R time in your little schedule.
The final step is step 5. It's kind of where you iron out the final details. You know, I'm the organized one. I like to plan, I like to have packing lists and all that, so this is kind of my forte. Alright, the first part of ironing out the details is creating a meal plan. I know that some people are saying, why are you making a meal plan for vacation? Well, this is during a pandemic, and we're not going to be eating out at restaurants as much as we normally would during normal times. So I'm going to create a meal plan of simple meals that we can have for ourselves so that we are not having to eat out at restaurants for every single meal. We definitely are making some plans to dine out, and we'll probably use Yelp because it seems to be our favorite app for choosing restaurants. But we're going to look for restaurants that have outside dining because it should be nice and cool and a good time to do that. My favorite thing is to create a packing list, and I create a packing list so that we don't overpack. It's the silly things like, why would Hannah pack shampoo and I pack shampoo when we're going to be staying in the same place? So we just do that to consolidate everything we're packing and pack a little bit lighter. Closer to the trip, we're actually going to film a shopping haul and packing video so everybody can kind of get an idea of what we're taking with us. And in that video, we'll also provide you the packing list that we use, just in case you plan on taking a road trip in the near future and you want to get some ideas.
So that is our 5-step process on how we plan a trip.
During a pandemic.
During a pandemic. So if you liked this video, we highly encourage that you go look at our other videos that we have posted over the past year.
But we just kind of wanted you to learn how to organize yourself and to prepare for a trip, because you just don't, during this time, you just don't want to get in the car and go for a trip. You want to make a plan.
Definitely make a plan. Just a friendly reminder, please hit that subscribe button and also hit that like button as well. Hit the bell for ring-a-ding-ding for notifications. and as we always finish our videos here, we always wish that you stay safe, stay healthy, and don't forget to journey on. Bye.
Bye.